Welcome to Saturday Morning Coffee. My name is Lance McKinnon, and I am freezing today. And I am here with my co-host, Tiffany Linderman. Good morning, Tiffany. How are you?
Hey, Lance. I'm doing good. I'm fortunately nice and cozy.
I am nice and cozy too, and I'm on like my third cup of coffee from Good Brothers Cafe in Midtown, Harrisburg, Fifth Acres. Give a big shout out to my boy Stefan. I am also rocking my Major Prep pants from our boy Brian Majors, who's absolutely blowing it up. So I am staying warm with coffee from Good Brothers Cafe and got my legs warm from Major Prep, Brian Majors. And so that's where it's at. But it's a cold Saturday morning in central Pennsylvania. So, but I don't think people want to hear about that because we have followers from all over the world in different countries. So, is it just you and I talking today? And first of all, I have to disclaimer: I didn't get to the barbershop this week, so I don't look as wonderful as you do. And I think you did that on purpose. I said,
Oh, you know. uh, you look good, Lance. I'm excited. We have an awesome guest today, and his name is Tyrai Anderson, and he is a police servant from the Harrisburg market, so local to us. And so hopefully one of these days, non-COVID, we can get in person and get to meet him. But enough about that. I'm excited that you're here. Hi, Ty. How are you doing?
Good
How you
morning,
guys
good morning,
doing?
Ty. How are you doing, brother?
I'm
Welcome
doing
to
good. I'm trying to
Saturday.
stay warm.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You're right there. So you got to swing through Third Avenue and see and step on and get yourself some coffee. I know you
Oh, for
guys are
sure.
old boys, old kings, and maybe give you like a 5% discount or something.
Oh no,
But
I'm gonna support him 100%, man. That's a good guy, man.
hey, while you're in there too, I don't know if you know, we now have our merchandise in Good Brothers Cafe in Midtown. So, but we're not talking about Stefan or Brian Majors today. We're talking about tea and what you're doing. I'm not going to steal your thunder, but I just want to give you an introduction. First of all, I want to thank you for serving and protecting our cities, our streets. Times have changed. Things have changed in the world. Police officers, we have different lights, different views anymore because social media and things like that. I'm not saying it's all bad. I'm not saying it's good, but I really want to showcase you to the world because not only are you serving and protecting, you're doing other things. But I'm not going to steal your thunder, and so I'm just going to let you go ahead and take the mic and how it started and what you're doing.
Uh, thank you for that introduction. I'm very happy to be here. I'm grateful and humble. Like you said, I'm a professional. Obviously in a law enforcement capacity. I have experience, from sheriff, constable, security, and now police. It's just been an amazing journey for me. The things that I've been able to learn. But most importantly, the things that I've been able to learn, just growing up, in an inner city, just being able to bring that into the profession, you just make me a better professional. I'm grateful for that, and I think that, it's making me a better, person every day and allowing me to do what I love to do, even better. So, that's that. I grew up in Harrisburg City, played football, graduated from Bishop McDevitt high school.
You had to give Bishop McDevitt in there, right? Their
Yeah,
freshman quarterback is tight right now.
yeah, he's pretty good. My cousin plays for him too, Marquise Williams.
Yeah.
It's an awesome program, and I'm grateful for that. Just coming from an inner city, being able to experience, that part of life and find more about myself. It was awesome. I was grateful enough to get a scholarship to play football at Lock Haven University. A 4-year starter. And even pursue, my passion to play in the NFL. So it was great, and now, I've settled into, what I believe, fits me well with the, different qualities that I have. And I think law enforcement is just that thing. And now I'm just using all of those things to, help others. So I'm grateful and happy for that.
Well, that's absolutely amazing, man. And I didn't realize that you actually played in the NFL as well, too. What team did you play for?
I didn't get a chance to actually make the team. Obviously, as we know, the NFL is incredibly, it's challenging. It's a
Yes.
tough place to get into. I graduated in 2016, so I don't know if any of the viewers watch NFL Undrafted, but I was featured on there. I went up to New Orleans, so I was able to run around on the Saints facility and pursue it. Did my pro day at Temple. Put up some great numbers, but like I said, the NFL is very tough to get into, and I had opportunities to play overseas and the CFL, but for me, I've always been a thinker, and I had to think longevity. I was a father already, so for me, it just made more sense for me to get into my career field, and just start doing that. And I have my boys now, and I can sit back and coach them up and pretty much shorten their path.
It's absolutely amazing how God, we all have this one plan, and then God says, you know what? You have a pretty good plan, but I got a better plan for you because, I think you would have been fantastic in the NFL. However, what you're doing now, you're impacting a lot more people than just the NFL. And I want to dive into what you're doing for the young youth and the inner city, man, because this is so near and dear to my heart because I work with the kids in the inner city in Harrisburg, as well as Baltimore. Uh, Things need to change,
Sure.
and what you're doing and the speaking, and could you tell us more about that and how you're making a difference?
For sure. So, for me, what I've always noticed about myself, coming into a career field where, you really don't see too many African Americans, too many minorities, period, pursuing a career like this. For me, I accepted it as a challenge. Playing football, you realize that every day is a challenge, and you got to get, my coach, Coach Tanner used to tell me all the time, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And for me, it was a challenge. I jumped into this career field not knowing what to expect, knowing that, there will be a bunch of people that probably didn't support my decision to do so. But once I, dove into it and I started to, find out, how everything works and how to maneuver, I started to make those connections with people. And what I started to see was that the connection came easier because I had real life perspective. I could relate with a lot of these people. Growing up in the inner city of Harrisburg, where you see a lot of poverty, where you see a lot of violence, where you see a lot of, young men grow up without fathers. Fortunately, I was able to have my dad in my life, but just having friends and, seeing them not be able to maneuver this way, I was able to, connect with these people. And now, my passion is surrounded around that, trying to get through to these young men, to try to, shorten their learning curve, so they don't fall into the same traps that I've seen so many of, these people that I grew up with fall into, because we see a lot of that, every day. And I, I just think that it's great, that I'm able to do that and to see these people be receptive to me and open to me, and no matter what my, line of work is. So I just think it's great. And I salute what you're doing as well, sir, because I think it's a collective effort on what we need to do. And, it's just, it's day by day, as my boy Big Cat would say from Stilton, brick by brick, so you just got to lay that foundation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And Tiffany, you have anything to offer? Because I'll talk all day.
Oh, no, I have my dog whining in the background, so I was being quiet for a moment. But I want to say I think that's absolutely amazing that you were able to be a part of the NFL draft, and maybe that's not the right terminology. I'm not a big football person, so I'm not gonna lie. But I think that's amazing because you went for it, and at the end of the day, I think that's a amazing notch on your sleeve for that. But the impact that you're making with the community and essentially the a part of your life that you're giving to be able to do that, you're risking your life every single day. And that takes a true hero in my mind. And I just am so, like I said earlier, honored that you're here to share your story. I'm very curious. I know you said you're a thinker. What was it that brought you to the decision that you're like, hey, I'm going to go from this and I really want to be in the line of work, serving the community on the front line as a police officer? What was your calling?
So, I graduated with a degree in administration, from Lock Haven. So I have a bachelor's degree in administration. And, this whole time that I'm playing football in college, I'm constantly thinking about football. That was what was always in the forefront. But I had good people in my corner, like, Chris Franklin, my dad, and just different coaches that, would always tell me, like, you got to have this plan B. So when I graduated, I started working, and I always say, I want to work in the business realm. I want to be able to get dressed up every day and just do my thing in the business realm. But, as I'm doing this, I'm not really feeling the passion. I'm not feeling that I'm serving an actual purpose. So I decided to, give law enforcement a try, and I put the application in. And fortunately, I was able to get the job. And I started off, and I could just right away tell, that I felt like I was a part of a team. There was still a need to, want to be physically active. And again, I was able to help people, so this was early on, after, I graduated, to where, I'm working and, I'm a risk taker, so I stopped everything that I was doing to jump into a whole new field. I've never had the experience, and it worked out. And so I'm happy to be there, now to this day. And I feel comfortable. I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. I feel like, God put me here for a reason, and I'm serving that purpose.
And I am very passionate about like why I work with inner city kids. I have so much going on. I was very fortunate to grow up in a very small town, Mustang Nation, in upstate New York. So I wasn't like in, an area where there was a lot of diversity. But once I moved away from that area, my heart is always a Mustang Nation, true and blue, orange and blue. That's who I am,
Yes, sir.
But and like I said, I like to give back to the community. I shop locally, up there for all the holidays and stuff, because it's just, to me, that's home. But I wasn't fortunate enough. But once I moved out and moved into the city area, I felt a calling to myself as like, hey, even though you weren't around a lot of diversity, but there's something inside you that's saying, hey, you know what? A lot of these young kids don't see successful African American men being successful, and they're seeing the bad influences standing on the corner, that
Right.
fast cash, sort of say, and and they can get easily sucked into that environment. So for me, I'm able to relate to a lot of the youth kids that I worked with on a whole different level, because I experienced some of the things that they did, So when you're on their level and you meet them at their level, you gain their respect. But today's youth need to see more positivity from African Americans. As you had mentioned earlier, you have a lot of broken homes. And I'm not just saying in the Black community. It's even in all communities. All ethnicity. So, but we really got to make that impact in the inner city, because we actually have had people on here that have been incarcerated, for murder. They're coming back out. Lester Young, did 12 years, but now he's doing Path to Redemption. So where he's helping people who were incarcerated come out and get jobs. Mark Simon, down as a preacher who's written like 9 books, just got promoted to the United Church of Nations in California. So these young kids, you cannot say that your environment is holding you back. It's you holding yourself back. And that's why I always tell the kids, if you want to get out, you can get out. So there's a lot of means, and I know that's one of your biggest passions too. Is about look at me, I got out. Was it easy? Probably not. Was it hard? Yes, but I got out, but I came back because you know what? It's all about making a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree with you, and I speak about that a lot. I have these type of conversations, with a lot of my friends. And that's the type of things that we talk about, that is really difficult for, these kids to see and visualize anything in the world if they've never been there. If I told you that something exists, better than what you have now, and you've never been there, you can't visualize it. Therefore, you can't put together, the blueprint to get there. So with people like myself that have been able to navigate, shortcomings in life, it makes it easier, like you said, to go back and talk to these young people. And to touch on what you talked about, where there being poverty, not only in urban areas, there's also poverty in rural areas. I had the opportunity to work as a school safety officer in a school that was primarily white. And, what I learned, and again, I accepted this as a challenge, and what I learned, while I was there was I looked into the different struggles that a lot of people have that don't look like me, and really in the essence it's a struggle everywhere. It looks different, and I think that's what we have to understand. We have to be able to eat the colors of the rainbow. And when I say that, I mean that we got to get out here, and before we say we understand, we have to go out there. Psychiatrists, when people conduct these case studies, in order for them to understand, they have to indulge, to understand. And I think that's where, myself, I become a better person, a better human being, is because I always indulge, in things, to understand. I put myself around these things to understand, to gain understanding. And that's diversity. When we talk about, without getting too deep into it, when we talk about diversifying things, in my definition of that would mean that this is a person, no matter what they look like, it's a person that understands, through experience. And I think that's, where you start to make these better connections with people, is because we took the time to get out here to understand, and we bring it back, and then that's knowledge. You can give that out, and that creates the connection, for people whenever you're trying to do certain things. So.
Yeah. And the most important thing we can do as individuals, and Tiffany, myself, you, Ty, and all of our guests and followers, one of the biggest things that we can do for people is give them our time. You know what? And you hit the nail right on the head. And I say this all the time. We're all carrying invisible backpacks. You know, uh, I don't care what you say. The last 2 years, 3 years, the backpack's gotten heavy. If you say your backpack hasn't gotten heavy, you might be in pharmaceuticals. Those are the only guys who might not be. And I might get in trouble for saying that, but hey, millionaires are making, they're making money off of stuff. But what I'm saying is we're all carrying something, and one of the things that I always talk about is like find a mentor, find somebody that you can relate to, that you can talk about things with, because if you don't talk about things, you're going to just apartmentalize it, and it's going to fester. And you know what? And then what you happen to you see is what we're seeing on the news, and I'm not pointing out Harrisburg or anything else like that, but the crime rate in the younger generation is getting lower and lower, anymore. And I always refer back to the movie Fridays. Sometimes you got to fight like a man, put your dukes up. You know what I mean? Nowadays,
Yes, sir.
I forget his name, but it's one of the greatest lines. You got to fight like a man, and put him up. And but we're coming to an era where they're not doing that anymore. It's a lot of cap before anything over ridiculous stuff. And what happens is that we really need to teach these kids and be mentors for them. You know, to see myself and Tiffany working together, you know, seeing that unity, you know, seeing, you know, not the police officers in a bad light. Because sometimes, you know, law enforcement is shown in a bad light. Not every law enforcement officer is bad, you know. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
but like I said, and I had this conversation with a retired officer, you know, there's corruption in everything. You know, there's corruption, white collar, blue collar, you know, it doesn't really matter. There's corruption everywhere. But it's really important that you attach yourself to a mentor to help you grow. Like I said, but it's really important. If you want to get out, you'll get out. And sometimes it takes a village. And like I said, I know what you're doing and the guys that you're talking with, like Chris Franklin, you know, he's on the Harlem Globetrotters. You know, my man's traveling all over the world. Brian Majors, she traveled all over the world. You know, he's doing stuff with Team USA now. Stefan, you know what I mean? So you have a strong core of men who are making a difference that can help this young community and show them it's like, hey, you know what? We're from here. You can be from here too, but man, there's a whole nother world out there that you can make an impact on. And I admire all of you guys, all you kings, you know, that are doing that, and it's especially cool because, like I said, I think we spoke last night, and you were actually on duty, you know. So I was like, I'm not gonna keep you long because you gotta keep your eyes out,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
you know. But it's really important, and it's about really giving back, and that's really what's the next thing because you know our ultimate thing is our dash. You know, what's our legacy going to be? You know, how are we going to leave our mark on the world? We got that beginning date and end date, and Tiffany will tell you that I try to fill that dash up, you know, as much as I possibly can because you know you might plant the seed now in somebody that's 12 years old, but you may never see that harvest. But you know, they'll always look back and be like, you know, if it wasn't for Officer Ty
Yeah.
who pulled me over to the side and said, "Hey, you know, well, you know, look at me. You know, this is what I did. Look what Stefan's done. Look what Brian's done. Look what Chris has done. You know, you may never see that seed come to harvest, but it'll always be planted. And that's what you're doing right now is you're planting young seeds into these youths. And I pray to God that you know they all come to harvest because
I have another I have another thing to add in there, Lance. I was just going to say, I think that the seeds is a great way of just depicting how his impact is. But I think the additional thing is the community that you and like Stefan and your other friends and partners in the community are really working together and supporting one another. And I think that's also another key thing is that we need to build each other up to be successful and to provide time and resources to those you care about. And, you know, even people you don't know. I mean, I know you're doing that every day, but it's amazing to see how closely you guys all work together and lift each other up. And I literally, the sky is the limit for all of you and what you're going to do. And I just love it. It's such a strong community. I can't wait to see in the next couple of years where you guys are going to be at. Not even a couple of years, what, 6 months, right, Lance?
yeah, 6 months. And, you know, and Stefan's going to correct you because the universe is our playground.
Yes, sir.
Because I was
Yes,
corrected. They're not the sky's the limit. The universe is our playground, and we can make it anything we want it to be. And we're all making it. Tiffany, Ty, myself, everybody that's been on our podcast, our followers. The universe is your playground. And what you want to do is you can do it. Don't let anybody ever stop you. And that's the most important thing. And like I said, the blessing is in giving. And in
Yes, sir.
giving, it's not about money. It's about time and giving back. And like I said, when an old person is speaking, you know what? You stop and you listen because that's where you learn. That's a history book being passed on. to the next
Yes,
generation,
sir.
even though you're a young man now. But yeah, to you, you might be called old. They might call you an OG. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
a
sir.
young bull at 12, you're already an OG.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
and,
that's what it comes
and
down
for some
to.
of our listeners out there, OG is like an old gangster. It's just a little terminology, just somebody an
Yeah,
old head.
I've been through it.
Yeah, you've been through it. But not everything's been pretty. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's, the grind is hard, and it's not going to be easy. But if you want out, you can get out and make a difference in the life. And like I said, it's all about changing the world one person at a time. And that's exactly what you're doing, and everybody else is. And it's just absolutely remarkable. We just want you to
yes, sir.
continue to be safe out there. I know you got some great things coming up uh, real soon. So I'm really excited to be coming into the city and working with you. We can't talk
Yes,
about it
sir.
now, but I know that our followers are going to see you and I, our faces together, doing some stuff in the future and bringing the connection together. And I know you're a very busy man, and I know you got to be on shift in a couple hours. We got to take care of them kids today. But I want to say thank you very much um, for putting a light on public service, and youth, and not just only youth. I mean, you're also dealing with some OGs too that are stuck. I don't want to forget about them that are stuck because they've been in that cycle and they've never gotten out. But you also giving them hope there as well too. It's never too late. That's what I'm saying. It's never too late.
Yes, sir.
All the way up to that 11th hour, man, you can get out. And it's
Yes,
all
sir.
about it's if you want to do it, and it takes one person. And what you're doing in the inner city right now, man, God bless you, brother. And I pray for you every single day that you're safe out there on the streets, you and all your partners and all the public servants out there, because what the media portrays and what's really real, uh, they don't come together. You know, there's a lot more good out there than bad, and you're one of the great people out there, man. And I say, keep making a difference, brother. And you know what? The universe is our playground. Keep planting those seeds, and I am looking forward to working with you on some future endeavors. And we're going to see more Ty and Lance
Yes, sir.
together, and making an impact in the inner city. That's what I really want to
Yes, sir.
say. Yeah, Tiffany, before we let them go.
Oh no, I'm truly, like I said before, honored, and now that I've been corrected. The universe is our playground, and you are playing in it. I also appreciate you as a risk taker. So, thank you for everything that you're doing. Seriously.
I wasn't
Yeah,
correcting you,
thank
Tiffany.
you,
I
guys.
was just telling you that Stefan was going to correct you because he always corrects me when I say that.
No, it's
So,
good.
yeah.
It's all good. Thank you,
Yeah.
Stefan, wherever you're at.
Yeah, no, I thank you guys. I really thank you guys. And just to leave, the world with the message, there's a lot of terrible things, going on in the world every day in the communities all around the world. And just my message just to the young bucks out there, you just got to understand that it's choices, understand that, if you're in a tough time, right now it's temporary, and we got to think about the words that we speak, because they become our actions, so we want to really be, cautious about the way we speak about things, the way we digest our problems, because, that's going to, in the end, be how we deal with it, so just be cautious about, these things, and just take some time to sit back and assess, what's going on in your life, and in every situation, to just be a better person, just to give yourself that, couple seconds to think about it. So.
Lance, you're on mute.
I know. I just want to piggyback on that, and that's. And I know I want to wrap it up, but you hit the nail right on the head, even as an adult. You know what? Pause, count to 10 before you react. Uh, you know, and that's with anything. You know, I think we have a lot of knee-jerk reaction, and I think people need to learn to just stop, think, because that one choice, like I said, could have a ripple effect that will change your life dramatically at 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. And we've had some guests on where for one choice, you know, one 30-second choice without thinking changed their life for 15 years, 16 years, 19 years, you know. But it had you stop and thought for 10 seconds, would you really made that decision? You know, so man, that message, that hits home, man. That's like for anybody on the streets, as a husband, as a wife, as a boyfriend, girlfriend, father, mother, businessman, boss. It doesn't matter. You know, I always say I've written a lot of emails and never sent them. You know, but that's what it is. But I really wanted to piggyback on that because that goes across the board for everybody, just everybody. Stop, think about it before you react and say, is this the right thing? And we're not products of our society. We all can make it. We're all going to get there. It's just, it's going to be a grind, you know. And again, thank you for making a difference in the world and what you're doing. And I know I'm looking forward to working with you. And I know you got to get, so cheers to Saturday morning coffee. Stop in, tell Stefan, just to go in and just take a mug off the shelf and tell Stefan I got it.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
All right. Thank you very much, T.
Thank